All right, welcome to Aspire 23. Thank you for joining for this session. We're calling this one Revolutionizing Sales Success, AI-powered CRM strategies. So I appreciate you joining. There's going to be a lot of talk on this session about some of that AI technology that's been all over the news over the last few months. We're going to talk about how it can really transform your sales team, your processes. We'll look at some specific tools that we here at Velosio are implementing for our customers to help them take advantage of all this new technology. So that said, let's get right into it. I'll just quickly introduce myself. My name is Bill McGivney. I'm a consulting manager with the customer engagement team for Dynamics 365 here at Velosio. Over 15 years of experience implementing various CRM systems and related solutions. Really just looking to help our customers take advantage of Microsoft Business Applications, especially from a customer relationship management and customer engagement standpoint. So happy to talk to you today. We're going to be looking at artificial intelligence, like I said. Got about 30 to 40 minutes to go over this, and we'll take a look at some of that technology. But first, I want to actually give you a little bit of background and some context, just so we can all understand kind of where we are today, what got us to this point, and where we're headed next. I think it is important to make that distinction between what you may have heard about artificial intelligence in the past and what's different about some of these more recent breakthroughs that we've been hearing about. Because that term artificial intelligence, it's really been around for decades, right? And not just in sci-fi movies either. It's been a good 20 years or so that we've had real AI application, even just for personal use around the house with things like robot vacuums and digital personal assistants, things like Cortana and other big tech companies have been releasing those things just to make our day-to-day lives easier. When you think about it from a business application, though, even as far back as 2016, Microsoft was bringing AI features into their Dynamics applications. At the time they were calling it relationship insights. Now it's called sales insights or assistant. We're going to take a look at that later. But the point is, again, some of this isn't exactly brand new. What is new is that term Microsoft Copilot, and I'll define that a little bit more because that term is new as of just a few months ago. We're here in June of 2023. At Aspire 23, we wouldn't have been talking about some of this stuff at Aspire 22. It's that new. But Copilot, essentially, it's a way for Microsoft to take some of these new AI features and really embed them across the Microsoft ecosystem and their product line of business applications. If you haven't heard of Copilot yet, though, I'm sure you have heard of ChatGPT. That's what lots of folks are talking about. ChatGPT is owned by OpenAI. Microsoft is a major investor in OpenAI. So they've got a lot of interest in making sure that that new technology is actually available to Microsoft 365, Office 365, Dynamics 365 users. Those of us that are running our business applications in the cloud are going to be able to take advantage of a lot of that functionality that ChatGPT has to offer. So what's different about this latest set of artificial intelligence breakthroughs that makes it different from AI that you may have heard of in the past? Like I said, it's really across the entire sales ecosystem for Dynamics. It spans not just Dynamics, but Office and Microsoft 365. And what's really different about it with the recent AI advancements are a couple of things. First and foremost is it's now generative AI. So the idea with generative AI is it's really going beyond that process automation. It's no longer simply taking, some kind of input, like it could be human language or a text prompt, and then automating processes. It's actually going further and creating new content, whether that's blog posts or emails or just making a presentation look sharper. That technology is what has not been widely available until just a few months ago, right? Before that, AI was intelligent enough to do, natural language processing, understand what it is that we're asking for, and automate basic kind of monotonous tasks. But this is really the first time that we're seeing it do that creative work in addition to the more routine things. The reason that this is all possible is because of that underlying technology that uses machine learning or deep learning. I won't get into the details on that, but if you think of a typical computer algorithm, even if you're not a developer or a programmer, right, you probably understand that concept that an algorithm is going to take some input, it's going to process it in some way, and then return an output. Well, now those algorithms are actually learning as they get more source data, and they're able to modify themselves. So they become better, they become smarter over time the more we use them. So it really is, in my opinion, a transformational moment in history that we're seeing right now. It's one of those major, technological breakthroughs, kind of like when search engines were released or mobile devices. Right now we're in the AI era. So a lot of hype around this, but let's talk about specifically, what does this mean for you as a salesperson or as a business leader? So there's a lot of benefits. First and foremost, obviously driving revenue. That's what salespeople are here to do, right? AI can make them better at that. So it can help your team close more business. You can do it more quickly, and you can do it in a way that really impresses your customers, right? You're going to be able to deliver presentations that are that much sharper. You're going to be that much quicker about responding to them if you're leveraging AI. So, that's going to go a long way, because your customers that really get that full AI experience, even though they don't necessarily know that it's AI under the hood, what they understand is that they really enjoy doing business with you. They're going to be that much more likely to refer you to other customers. That cycle is going to keep repeating itself, so you can move on to bigger and better deals. Second, it's going to be able to increase efficiency. So things that may have taken 15 minutes in the past might just be 5 minutes today. And, I know 10 minutes might not seem like a big deal, but over time that adds up, right? And it's not just the little things either. You can have, larger, more complex tasks, like maybe putting together a slide deck or some kind of a proposal that could have taken hours or days in the past. And that could come down to 20 minutes of just reviewing it, editing it, and getting it out the door. So definitely opportunities to be more efficient. You're going to be able to stay more organized. I always think about that book, Getting Things Done, which talks about the importance of having a system that everything that you need to do can be filed into. So you either get it done immediately, or it goes into some kind of a task list or a calendar. For a lot of sales reps, that's their CRM system. So with AI, you can really help make sure that action items that belong in your system, your CRM system, are actually being logged, and they're not just being forgotten about. So nothing will slip through the cracks. As an example, just kind of picture a scenario where maybe you're heads down focused on putting together some kind of a quote that's due by the end of the day. In the meantime, you see an email pop up. Your inbox is telling you, some prospect is asking you, hey, can you remind me about what the quoted price was of this product that I was interested in? And it might sound easy enough, but you're going to have to stop what you're doing in the old days, right? Go look that information up. And if you're in the middle of something, maybe you can't really stop what you're doing and go focus on that right now. So the day goes by, more emails come in. Next thing you know, that original question was kind of out of sight, out of mind. You forget to go back to it. I think we've all been there. In the AI world, it can actually automatically remind you that you've got that important email out there. It's still waiting on a response. Better yet, it can even go a step further and make it that much quicker for you to be able to reply to the email in the first place. So instead of having to worry about going back to it, maybe that is just a quick reply in the AI world. It can draft a reply for you on the spot, so you don't even need that reminder. Another advantage is reducing learning curves, right? We all have certain things that we do really well, other things that probably could use some improvement. Personally, for me, I know my way around an Excel spreadsheet, but I'm not a designer. If it comes to when it comes to creating, nice, slick, visual PowerPoint presentations, it's not really my area of expertise. I mean, I could learn it, but wouldn't it be nice if I could just click of a button, have that generated for me, and have those slides right in front of me? We'll actually look at an example of that later on. And then lastly, user adoption. So, some salespeople think of CRM as more of an administrative thing. They don't necessarily see the value in it for them. that's a whole other conversation we could have. But AI is one of those things that can really help your team get excited about using your customer engagement system. Use it as a tool that's going to make their lives easier, make them more effective at their jobs. They're going to want to put more and more data into it, which by association just means that we as an organization are going to get that much more out of it as well. All right, so again, kind of think about what a typical sales process looks like, especially what we're seeing here on the left related to qualifying leads, developing opportunities, getting quotes out the door. This is where most salespeople are going to be spending a lot of their time, in Outlook, in Word, in PowerPoint. They need to bring in new leads. They need to qualify them. Once it's an opportunity, we'll quote it. We'll hopefully close it. It becomes an order and go from there. Think about how different that process can be when you have AI on your side, right? So the traditional approach is going to involve a lot of kind of low quality leads, a lot of manual outreach, just a lot of time consuming steps across the board, pretty much every step of the way. Whereas with AI, first of all, lead generation becomes that much easier. You're going to, not have to work quite as hard to identify those leads. If you've got things like a chatbot on your website, people who reach your website can just engage with that chatbot and provide you with really actionable information automatically, instead of you having to go out to trade shows, find them, and kind of go through those old-fashioned methods. From a lead qualification perspective, AI is also going to make it possible to know which leads are higher quality than others. So you're not having to spend time figuring that out for yourself. It can kind of automatically score your leads. So again, just the overall quality of your leads is going to increase. You're going to be able to focus on the high quality leads, the ones that are actually likely to close. So you're putting your time towards the right activities. When it comes to following up with leads or opportunities, let's say, again, if you tell someone that you're going to follow up with them in another week, in the past, it basically would be on you to remember to actually do that. Hopefully you remember to go into your calendar, your to-do list, and log it there so you don't lose track of it. But in the AI world, you can get those tasks scheduled automatically and make sure that you're on top of those things. You're going to be that much more responsive now that AI is able to generate content for you. Again, that concept of generative AI is going to save you time because, putting together the proposal, the slide deck, whatever it is, if it can generate that sort of thing automatically based on data that you put into it, right? You still need to give it the right prompts. You need to provide it with certain source information, but it can get you a really good starting point, and that's half the battle, right? You could even respond to emails that much more quickly than you would have in the past. So you're going to be a lot faster about responding to your customers. And then lastly, proposal creation time. Again, we've got Copilot features built right into PowerPoint, into Excel. So all you do is give it some prompts. It's going to use that natural language processing, do a lot of that legwork for you. So you're not having to just start from square one each time. So these are just some examples, but again, across the board, you're going to be a lot more efficient in the new AI world, as long as you're really taking advantage of these features. This slide again is just meant to kind of indicate that we're not just talking about one specific product today. We're talking about features that more and more we're going to see embedded across the entire ecosystem. We're already starting to see that with Copilot, especially. Copilot is, don't think of it as a standalone app. Think of it as, literally right in the sidebar of things like Excel and PowerPoint, kind of working alongside with you to help you kind of generate that content that you're putting together. So, Microsoft, again, just being a leader in this space, I know it's a lot to take in because of the fact that these features are kind of across a variety of applications. But like I said, with Copilot, they're really baking it into a lot of these products that you're already using. So from a sales perspective, Dynamics 365 really is still at the heart of it all. That's the CRM system that sales reps are going to be using to manage their leads and their opportunities. But there's a lot more to it, which we'll see. So That said, let's actually take a look at some of these features. I'm going to start with um, taking a look at actually some of the features that have been in the sales ecosystem for a little while. This is part of, they're now calling it Sales Insights. You also may know it as Assistant. So if you log into Dynamic Sales up here in the top right, we've got this assistant icon. This is just an example from my sample kind of demo environment, but you can get a sense of what kinds of automated notifications are going to show up here. I've got a few contacts that don't have any activity on them. It's also automatically detected that there's an opportunity that's closing soon. So if I click on that, I can get a little bit more information about why it's showing me this information, and then I can go straight into that opportunity, right? A lot of times there's just so much data in the system that it can be a little overwhelming to understand kind of where to start. So this assistant feature is here to help you understand, what you probably should be looking at. So that's nice to have. That's one of those things that's just going to help make sure things just don't slip. This opportunity is closing soon. I can see that it does in fact have an estimated close date for the next week or so. So this just makes it that much easier to make sure that date doesn't come and go without me doing anything with it. So these are a couple of simple examples. The notifications that we see here, they are configurable, especially if you've got a sales premium license. You can use all the features of Sales Insights to determine which cards you want to show up and when. They're called insight cards. So you have some control over, which ones are relevant to your business, what kinds of things you want to notify your team about. And this is here in the product already. It's not like we're waiting on anything to be rolled out. Nothing's in preview. You can go in and start using this right away. All right. In terms of some of the features that really are new, though, if we come back and take a look at some of the stuff around seller effectiveness, this is a new feature as of the latest release. So you might not have seen this yet. It's something that we're calling the Up Next widget. You can add this to an opportunity form, for instance, and what it's going to do is display the next step of some predefined sequence of activities, whatever's needed to actually close the deal. And you can also add manual activities as well. But essentially what's happening here is, AI is looking at the opportunity and some of the related information to understand what's happened, what else could you be doing. If you need to send an email out, it can help you compose that email. It'll give you suggestions on those next steps in the sequence. Okay. This next slide here is related to actually, there's going to be some integration with Teams, but there's really a lot to digest on this screen here. Over on the left, if you look at this kind of sidebar here, we've got a filter applied, and there's a list of leads, which as a salesperson, I might be responsible for following up on each of these leads. But what's nice is they're actually grouped by score. So we can see my grade A leads are surfaced up at the top, followed by a group of grade B and then grade C. So it makes it very clear what the highest quality leads are. And it's doing that lead scoring based on a bunch of factors. If you look over here on the right, there's also a lead score section of the form that shows me this lead that I'm looking at now is scored a 90. And that's based on several factors like the purchase time frame, how new is it, what's their estimated budget. It can even look at things like content within emails that we've exchanged with this lead. So if we have a potential buyer who's expressed that, hey, they are ready to go ahead and purchase, it can automatically detect that from the language in the email and use that to increase the score. So it's not just static data on the lead record that I'd have to go in and manually update, right? Just based on activities that the lead is taking, right? If they're reaching out to us saying, hey, I want to move here, then it's going to automatically update that score for me and bring it up from the grade C to grade B to grade A and really surface that up at the top so I know where to focus my time. We can also see on this screen that Up Next widget that we were just talking about. And then also down here under who knows whom, that's a nice list as well. That's going to score contacts that might have a relationship to this lead. So it can help us leverage those shared relationships in case there are other people that we might want to reach out to or get introduced to that could help us close this deal. And then lastly, over on the right, you can see this Teams calls sidebar area. This is a little window right within Dynamics. So without having to even switch over to a Teams window, we can bring in Teams calling features so that I can, initiate a call right from this lead record and then actually have it transcribed in real time. It could even go as far as to offer real-time suggestions on certain important talking points to make sure that I touch on that call. And then after the call, you're going to actually have that full transcription. So if we look here, this is kind of a post-call recap. There's going to be access to the full transcription. It's going to be able to analyze the call for what's called sentiment analysis, kind of deciding automatically was the customer positive in certain areas, negative in others, so that you have a sense of how well the call went from the customer's perspective. It can even suggest certain follow-up action items. Like in this case, it's suggesting some emails that should go out. We told this contact that we would send them an email with the quote. So don't forget to actually do that, right? I know you said that, so make sure you actually get that logged and get the email out. So yeah, I mean, really cool stuff here. It's kind of like having a personal assistant, right? Listen in on the call that you're having, just to help you stay organized and make sure that you're staying on top of those things that you said that you would do. Maybe even things you didn't necessarily explicitly say that you would do, but you probably should do next. It'll help you stay on top of those things too. Next up, and this is really cool. This isn't necessarily specific to Dynamics 365 sales. Like I said, this Copilot stuff is being embedded across the Microsoft 365 suite. In this case, what we're looking at here is a blank PowerPoint slide. And over on the right, you see another sidebar specifically for Copilot. So it's available right here in PowerPoint. So in this case, I've got a Word document for a proposal, this Van Arsdale proposal. I'm ready to share this with the prospect, but I need to present it to them first. So what I want to do is take the content that's in that Word document and summarize it in a slide deck format so that I have something pretty that I can use, just high level, walk the customer through this proposal, and then I can send them the full detailed Word document. So again, I've got the content. I just need help making it look pretty. So I can ask Copilot to do that for me. I can just say, create a short presentation based on this Word document. I give it a few seconds, and next thing you know, here we go, right? So it's automatically generated the slides, well-designed, it touches on the key points in the proposal. Now I've just got a handful of slides that I can look at, and if I like it, I can keep it. If it's pretty far off and I want to just see it, give it another chance, basically, I could regenerate it and see what it comes up with next. But yeah, at this point, I can just start going through the slides and really start making some fine tunes to it. Keep in mind, it's called Copilot. It's not called Pilot. Like, you are still the pilot. You are going to want to edit it. It's not necessarily the kind of thing where I would expect it to, complete a fully, ready to go slide deck that I can just immediately present to our customer. I don't want to make it seem like it's going to go that far. You still are in the driver's seat. You're going to want to, tweak some of the language, maybe make some adjustments to have it work for you. But again, this is really just a huge step towards getting that whole process started. I mean, getting to this point, I don't know about you. Like I said, I'm not much of a PowerPoint person. It would probably take me several hours just to get here. So if it can save me that time, then that's huge, because then I can put that extra time towards moving on to the next opportunity or working on something that's even more value add. Another example of Copilot being embedded right inside of an Office application is with Outlook. So this time we're looking at Outlook. Technically, Copilot is part of Viva Sales, which is another relatively new feature. It does predate some of this Copilot stuff, but they're adding Copilot into it. Essentially, what Viva Sales is, kind of an oversimplified way of looking at it, is kind of an AI-driven version of the add-ins that we're used to using inside of Outlook that can connect our inbox to our CRM system, right? That's technology that's been around for a while. This idea of, filing an email to your CRM system, logging new contacts to CRM. Viva Sales is going to be able to do that, but really leverage, some AI functionality and some efficiencies with things like Teams, for instance. So in this case, though, what it's doing is it's looking at an email that's come in, and it's suggesting a reply. So this is a customer asking us about a specific proposal. So the key thing to point out here is the reply that it's generating. This is a draft over here on the right. It's not just a generic reply to a generic request. This is a specific prospect that we have already gone in and established a relationship with. There's background to this. There's context that Copilot is able to pull from. So if they ask, I'm following up on our discussion about the new XR coffee machines, Copilot can look at our data, our Microsoft 365 environment, and suggest a reply that, hey, we talked about 10 units for that, and we talked about the total price being $4,990. That's data specific. It's customer specific. Again, I'm still going to want to look at that, read it over, make sure that it's accurate, make sure that it sounds good, it's using the tone of voice that I want. But I can just copy that, paste it into my email, make my adjustments, and send it out. So that reply, again, just going to be much quicker for me to be able to get that reply out. A couple other examples of using AI in applications that all kind of relate to Dynamics 365 sales. One is we have AI capabilities inside of Power BI. So this is a sample report that includes, a lot of information, lots of different widgets here. There is some natural language processing built into Power BI. And again, this isn't necessarily brand new, but I do think it's really cool. And it's using AI under the hood to take input, some kind of a prompt, right, and actually generate business intelligence reports using Power BI on the spot. So as you type your question, it will generate a report for you. So let's say I've got a bunch of sales data in here related to, opportunities. So it knows about my pipeline information, that kind of thing. If I come in to ask a question about it, I can say, who's my top account by pipeline? And it's just going to quickly turn that around for me. So I can see the name of that account right here, and I can see what kind of revenue is in their pipeline, even though I actually misspelled pipeline. So it still knows what I'm going for, which is nice. Let's fix that typo though. Top account. So this is one account. It knows I'm just looking for one account because I used account singular. But if I add an S to the end of that, just like that, it knows, okay, so you're looking for multiple accounts. So there you go. Now I'm seeing the top, looks like that's 10 accounts. If I change that to top 30 accounts, now it knows exactly how many I want to see. So it's adjusting the report for me there. So I can see one of my accounts is Graham Inc. If I want to drill into that and say, how much pipeline does Graham Inc. have? It can automatically turn that out. So notice, previously it was giving me a bar graph. Well, now I'm asking for a very specific number. So it knows to just return a number, right? It's smart enough to figure out what type of report I need. If I'm asking for a pipeline by account state, then give me a map. It's going to let me look at it so I can just hover over each of these states and see what the pipeline is there. Now, maybe I want to know specifically which state has the highest, which state or province has the highest pipeline. Again, now it knows I'm looking for a very specific state. So it's just showing me Washington. Now I can also be more specific about what type of report I'm looking for, what type of widget I want back. If I say, show me a pie chart of pipeline by category for Texas, that's what it's going to give me. All right. So there we go. So really cool stuff. In the past, I would have had to have created all of these reports individually, develop them, test them, push them to production. Now, if I just have something quickly that I'm looking for, I just want my system to show me the answer to the question. Just type it in and it'll spit it back out for me. So that's Power BI, and this is a sample report, but you can embed this Q&A feature in your own reports too. There's also AI features that are being introduced to administrators that are generating, automations that are going to be used by users. So as someone who is maybe a sales admin person or a CRM admin, often I might need to come into Power Automate, which is our workflow engine for doing automated tasks. It can connect to your CRM sales environment. It can connect to Dataverse, connectors that will allow it to touch all sorts of systems. If I need some automated process, this is where I would come to build it. And what's nice is now that we have generative AI built right into things like Power Automate, I don't have to build that Power Automate flow from scratch anymore. I can start with a prompt, just a text prompt, tell it what I'm looking for, and it can start to generate that flow for me. So let's say let's actually go to create. I can create a blank flow. I can create one from a template. I can pick a connector first. I'm going to create one from scratch, but I'm going to describe it to design it. Where it says describe it to design it, I'll click on that. It's just asking me, okay, so what does your flow need to do? I'm going to put in some plain text information about what I need my flow to do, and it's going to return that flow for me. So let's say maybe I've got a scenario where, I want to see it. If I have any open opportunities, maybe I don't work with opportunities a lot. I'm not normally assigned to opportunities, but if I do get assigned to one, and it's still open, I want to get an email about that, and I want a task automatically created. So let's say just once a week, I want to do a check. So every week, if at least one open opportunity exists in Dataverse, which is the back end of my sales environment, send me an email and create a task. Let's go. So it's just going to take a second to work on that. And here's a flow that it's suggesting. So it knows that I want this flow to run once a week. So it's going to be triggered off of a recurrence. It's going to get rows out of Dataverse. It's going to get my office profile. It's going to check some condition. It's evaluating, is this actually still, an open opportunity? If so, send me an email, create a task. So the logic, the different steps of that flow are already in here for me. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to have to connect it to my Dataverse environment. Looks like I need to set up an Outlook connection. But the point is, the next step would be, actually configuring the details of that flow. It's probably not going to be totally ready to go right out of the gate. But it did kind of design the process for me. And now I just need to fine tune the details, test it out, and there we go. So again, really cool stuff. Automating, not just day-to-day tasks, but even kind of more advanced administrative features as well. So a lot of cool stuff happening here. Let's come back into here and just start to wrap up. We've covered a lot of ground today. Hopefully this has been useful. Again, just want to thank you for joining. Good luck with your AI journey. I appreciate your time today, though.